Alright, so here's what my E92 currently looks like. Olin's TTX. I think the stance is perfect. Stock wheels with, I believe, 15mm spacers in the rear, 12 on the front. I have the Bay Optics traditional light package, blacked out headlights, so I bought brand new headlights for this, specifically the Alpha N carbon fiber GTS lip, IND grills, black badges. Of course, this is Interlagos, full car wrap with XPEL Ultimate, topped with Crystal Serum Light and Crystal Serum Light and XOV4. The crown jewel of my entire car life, the Brembo CCM carbon ceramic kit, racing, super fancy titanium studs, lugs, suspensions Olin's TTX, IND painted side markers, IND painted keyhole cover, of course the carbon roof. You can see my height. OE rear deck spoiler, Florida custom plate. Exhaust is full American Racing headers, catless, resonated, full exhaust. Done a lot of exhaust on these cars. This is the one. You can see the stance. If you care about GoPro placement, here's where I've been mounting one. Second, I mount on the window here. Third, mounted there with a Edutige ETM-008 microphone with the media mod. Car has 2,004 miles. Diamond pedals. AMX Performance. OE matching seats. You can see the seats. So it's black. Is it Novilla leather? Auto Solutions. I don't love the height of the shifter, but I believe it's a ZCP shift knob. Auto Solutions. It's their autocross kit. You can see 2,004 miles. Diamond pedals, OE mats. Interior is pretty much stock otherwise. I have a blend mount with a Redline 360 Escort hardwired. Here's the engine bay. Got some black line parts from IND, Eventuri full intake. The ARH headers, which are down underneath there. And that's about it. Pretty simple setup. So we're at about 200, 180 degrees. I'm letting it idle a bit, just kind of get it up to temp. This has been the big struggle for me, is this is my collector car. And I hope to have many collector cars in my life, so maybe many of you can chime in that have a bunch of cars. I've never been very good at this, where the car just kind of chills and I drive it for pleasure every once in a while. You know, this is a 2004 original mile, E92 M3. When I got it, it had, what, 810 or something like that. And so we'll see how the car reacts here. It's been sitting for a couple of weeks, but I've had the car sit for, a month or two at a time without me getting it up to temp. And I think what happens is, I think the valves stick. Maybe you E92 experts can chime in on what happens when the car sits, but it would have a heavier throttle, sort of. Let's see, we'll see if it does it. I think it's good, because a couple of weeks ago I did get it up to temp. I drove it a good 50 miles, 60 miles, something like that, to get it so that it wasn't struggling anymore. But flat spots, oil getting sludgy, if you will, especially this 60 weight, what is it, 10W 60 TWS stuff. It's a bit of a struggle in that, you know, you want the car to get up to temp, but you know, I like the low mileage, the collectability aspect of it. You know, how do we keep a car from falling apart, but keeping it? I don't really care about the mileage. Again, it's just this car I enjoy. You know, my Porsches are so much better than this. This is more my unicorn nostalgia car, the car that I've always loved and wanted, and of course I've got to relive it, basically getting a brand new one, almost 10 years later, you know, after my original, more than 10 years later from my 2011 that I bought in 2010. So this will probably happen more in my life as I hopefully build the business and have more resources, have more space, that I have a few cars that I own and sort of collect, if you will, and drive periodically. For those of you who have one or two cars, you don't really understand how it's hard to comprehend what it's like until you have a bunch of cars. I've had as many as I think 11 at once, and I don't think that's for me, but you know, my tendency in the past has been, well, shoot, if I'm going to collect it, I'm just going to get rid of it. And now collecting for me means go out and drive it once in a while, you know, every couple of months or so. But there's problems with that. It can become problematic from you know, like I said, this car wasn't been very happy with me. At least the engine hasn't been. It's running great, even though it sat for a couple of weeks. Maybe it's just the formula of, you know, I set a schedule, and once a month or so, once every 3 weeks, just go out and do a little, you know, 10-mile little loop, get it up to temp, keeps me from getting flat spots, change the oil every year. We're up to temp now. I don't think it's, you know, I've always, I don't know if there's any proof of this, but I don't think it's good to let it sit idle and get up to temp. I think you want to go and drive it. But this, I mean, I've had 3 E92s, and I feel like I've got it figured out. I've done all kinds of exhausts and different parts and pieces, and different tunes, different brakes, different wheels, different tires. I think that I've got the combination figured out. Yeah, car's running fine. There was like a hesitation, kind of rattle. I don't even know how to explain it. Again, it almost feels like some of the valves are stuck, or I wasn't getting full power. Wrong button. Put it in MDM mode. We have the EDC deleted because I've got this amazing suspension, Öhlins TTX. My friend Barry at 3DM he takes these Öhlins kits and sets them up for whatever you want it, and mine's valved and sprung for the street, and it is incredible. Just absolute perfection. Give it a little business here. Such a cool car. It's so funny because when I'd gotten this in 2010, it was so much faster than any Honda I had. I felt like I couldn't. I never put it in the sport or power. Turn the power button on. Felt like I couldn't manage it. but in modern terms, this car is pretty freaking slow. It's probably about 400 horsepower at the wheels, you know, with the headers catless. I have a tune, what tune do I have? Alpine MSS tune, set up specifically for the ARH headers. There's a little, this car is freaking great. This is why I have it. It puts a smile on my face. One thing I'd consider is maybe make this get an E90, make it my daily driver. I think I want a 911 Carrera as my daily driver car. Right now I'm driving the Evo. Pretty much every day. Actually, I'm about to wash the Evo. It's probably the dirtiest of any car I've ever had. But this car, just listen to that engine. It's so good. To me, it's just the perfect combination of induction noise combined with intake. It just has the right amount of grunt. It's good. So yeah, I mean, the general idea here or concept or, you know, thing I need to figure out is, I guess, if I'm going to have, you know, 3 or 4 cars, you know, I'd love to have a 997 RS 4.0, have that in the garage, have a 458 Speciale, and just kind of collect them and get to enjoy them, get to drive them, get to video them, wash them, all that stuff. But there are going to be times that they sit for a long time, and how do you deal with that? How do you manage that? How do you not end up with a car in worse shape than if you had 50,000 miles on it? And I know, you know, many of you just drive the car, but if you have 10 cars, how do you know, you're not driving them all every single day. You can't. My garage is a mile and a half. My business is a mile and a half from my house. By the way, this property right here, up the hill, I've started to put into motion what it would be like if I got these, you know, my 200 acres or my 100-acre plan. So it's 100 acres on the right, another 67 acres starting right about here. That someday I'd love to buy this lot right here on the right. This is the main 67 acres where I'd love to build houses. Build one, set it up, build the second, move into that, sell the first, do that 10 times. So I like the short shifter, but this is the Auto Solutions Autocross version. I'd like it a little taller. It's just a little stubby for my taste. But feels great, feels super mechanical. That's one of the problems with this car, is that the stock shifter is a wet noodle. Well, now this thing is amazing. But the greatest thing, I mean, again, I don't feel the need to have a supercharger on this, is instant throttle response, red lines. We have the red line set at 8,600 RPM. It's just freaking great. I have the suspension, the alignment set up perfectly. It's so good. I'd actually bought some wider version of stock wheels, and I never put them on because I've got this thing set up so well. I don't want to mess it up. And we could stand to have a little bit more meat in the rear. I think I have 275s, 255 front, 275 rear, but which is what, 20 millimeters bigger than stock. I feel like it's fine. So I think I'm answering my own darn question. I love the driving experience of this thing so much. Just frickin' go out and drive it. Maybe once a week, just do this. Take it somewhere. This suspension. My E36 TTX feels even better than this one. But if you have an E92, ARH, even Shuri Plenum, ARH exhaust, Brembo GT kit, or if you can get a Brembo GT CCM, which is $50,000. Remember, I had such a successful giveaway on the first version of this car that was the one frivolous thing I've done. I bought the Brembo CCM kit, which is an insane amount of money. But it'll last the life of the car. It'll be sort of stored value in that, if I ever sold this thing, I could take the brakes off and probably sell them for 30 grand. So I'd love your advice. What do? You have a bunch of cars. How do you manage them? Obviously battery tender, flat stoppers, but what's your run time, starting sequence? What do you do to drive them? What do you do to make sure that they don't end up with problems? Obviously you've got stability with fuel. I don't think mine isn't going to sit that long, but if it does sit a couple of months, I found that this car is really unhappy with me. But again, it's been about 2.5 weeks since I just kind of drove it a bunch to get the engine back to happy. So, and now it feels great. So we just did 12 miles, and I got it up to temp. I don't think we got anywhere close to red line, but we did the Lord's work here on a Sunday at 11 a.m. And I have to creep in here because this gate is jacked up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your input. Always courtesy rev. See you soon. Always give a little extra business with the E92.